time to clean up those network cables that run to a closet or a basement somewhere in your house. This can be done in a box like you see here or on the wall, and I'll show you both ways to do it. I decided to go with the ICC 12-port patch panels, and since my cable is Cat5e, it made sense to go with the Cat5e 12-port vertical patch panel. Here's the part numbers that I got. Now these are very comparable to the Leviton brand, and I like this because you mount this and then you come in and this snaps in place. First off, we're going to remove any excess equipment, straighten the cables up, and then we'll get ready to do these cables that are coming out of the wall on the right side. Since there are only 6 cables coming out of the wall, I decided to use this cheaper 8-port panel that uses Keystone Jacks. All right, now we have everything removed. We'll go ahead and get started. I used some drywall anchors and then I mounted the bracket onto the wall. All right, we have this mounted. We have the cables laying where they're supposed to. We know what they're labeled. The nice thing about this now, turn it around backwards. All right, take these Keystone Jacks, snap them in. Let's speed this up to keep it interesting, and you'll notice that I speed up the video throughout. We'll punch those down into here, and then when we're done, take it, flip it around, snap it in, and then we'll be done. If you've never punched down Keystone Jacks before, I will go through and show you how to do that. There is a little bit of a technique, and you've got to get all the cables in the right position. I'm sure there's other YouTube videos out there that show you how to do this, but I'll show you as well. I'm getting paid by the job, so I'm going really fast, and if I was getting paid by the hour, then I would slow this down and we would watch it at normal speed. My kids would tell me that that is a bad dad joke. I'm about to the point where I'm going to show you what I do when I get these ready and punch them down, get all the pairs prepared, straightened, and in line. When you look at these Keystone Jacks, you'll notice in here that there are 2 color codes. There's the A standard and the B standard. The B standard is newer and more common. The A standard is a little older and less used, but it just matters what's on the other end. And I happen to know that the other end of these, the wall jacks in this house, are the B standard. So we're going to wire these up to the B standard. To make this a little easier to punch down, it's good to get the wires in the right order before you even start. So I know that the B standard is the outside, which is the topmost and the bottommost. The A standard's on the inside that we won't use. And I get my oranges on the right, so white, orange, orange, and then browns, white, brown, brown. On the bottom, green, white, green, blue, white, blue. And I put them like that, and then I can start putting them in there in that order. I just need to get them started so that the punch down tool can do the rest of the work. On the tool, you need to make sure that the cutting edge is on the top when you're doing the top row, and then flipped so the cutting tool is on the bottom when you're doing the bottom row. So I'll do a little push to make sure it's in, then I'll do the final hard push to do the cut on each of those across the bottom. I know there are other punch down tools out there, and some of them don't cut the wires when you punch it down, and there are some really cheap ones, and those work, and you have to cut off the wires. I happen to like the punch down tool that cuts when you do it. It doesn't always cut all the way through, so sometimes you have to wiggle the cable back and forth, the little wires, and then they break off. But it's always good to test when you're done. Make sure that you have a good punch down. These Keystone Jacks come with a little back cover that helps hold the cables in place, and we need to snap those on before we flip it around. Now we unhook it, flip it around, do some cable management, and we're done. Alright, first thing I need to do in this box is to separate these. I need 12 cables for each of the punch down blocks, and then I separate those, find the amount of space we need to run the cables. To give me some extra slack, I'm going to go down and then I'll come up into here, so then I'll have this little extra length. I don't want to just come straight down and cut them, because then they'll be really short. To mount these mounting brackets, I went and got some 1/2-inch screws from the hardware store. These are just regular screws, but they were labeled piercing, so that I've already put one in. You just push on that and it will eventually tap into that sheet metal, and I don't want them any longer than that because I've got 1/2-inch sheetrock right behind there. So with the amount of thickness here, I'll have just enough to grab into that back of that box. So I'll go ahead and mount those. One of my favorite tools is this Milwaukee M12 impact driver. It's a 1/4-inch driver. I use it for drilling, putting screws in. I use it all the time. It's lightweight. It's very powerful. Pick one up for your birthday, Father's Day, Christmas, but it is my go-to tool now. Alright, the next thing to do is we need to punch down this punch down block. So these are nice because they mount in backwards for you to punch it down, and then you run all the cables in, you tie them all down, get them all punched in, then you unhook it, then you'll twist it, push everything in, and then you'll snap it in, and then you're done. So all right, this house is wired with the B standard. So for this one right here, we will be doing the rightmost color code, which goes blue, orange, green, brown. That's the B standard. And we'll ignore the A standard. The twists in these cables are important, so you want to keep them twisted as long as possible. So you don't want to have them untwisted for a long distance or outside of this where it's been stripped off. And that will help you have better data speeds and will keep your interference to a minimum. It's better to start at the bottom. If you are running the cables up like this, to start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. So we're going to start with cable number 12, and then we'll go all the way up backwards to number 1. And then as we lay the cables in, they'll go on top of each other like that. And it is a lot easier to do it that way. All right, what I found to be the best way to do it is get your blues on top, then your oranges, then greens, then browns. The white is always on the top of the two pair. And you come in at an angle like this, it's about a right angle. And you grab both blues and you push them in. And you come down and grab both oranges and push them in. And then the greens. So let me get the oranges right here. So they're about halfway in when you do it with your hands before you do the punch down tool. Like that. Then you punch them down. And when you're done, you can lay it flat, and then we'll be able to tie a zip tie around this point. Then the next one will go on top, and the next one, and then the next one on, and so on. So now we'll move to this. We'll do, that was 12, now we'll do 11. And it'll go right next to it. And it'll lay down like that, and that seems to be the easiest way to put them in. When you start punching down and cutting the wires to length, you won't be able to use the labels that are on the cable any longer. So before you start doing this, you need to make a list in a notebook like I've got in the background there that has the punch down number that corresponds with the label. So when you're all done, you can make a big nice list, put it on the inside of the door, so that when you look at punch down on the left, number 1, port 1, you'll know the label that goes to it, and so forth all the way down, and same with the other 2 punch downs, and you'll have a nice labeling system that'll be similar to a breaker box. Now some people call these punch down panels, some people call them patch panels, some people call them punch down blocks. They're all basically the same thing. Another nice feature with these patch panels is some little plastic loops that you can strap the cables to. You'll see some down at the bottom, right in the middle. And I'll take some really small zip ties and I'll strap these cables together tight, and then they'll be nice and secure. So when I move the patch panel, that they'll stay secure and the wires won't come out. All right, we finished getting this panel punched down. And what we do next is we unhook it and turn it around and then snap it back in. Now the trouble I had with this one was that I wanted to keep the cables up off the bottom because there is an outlet there. So I needed to push the slack back up into the wall just a little bit, and then I needed to do some cable management to get them nice and straight and strapped in so they're up out of the way on the bottom of the box. You may notice that the middle patch panel is already complete. I did that one first as a practice, make sure I was good to go with everything, and then for this recording I did the left one second, and I'll do the right one as a conclusion coming up next. Alright, I've got these 2 done, and I've got the cables pulled in tight. I pushed a little bit of extra slack up into the wall right here, and it looks like we're ready to move on to the 3rd patch panel. So far so good on those 2, and I've tested these and they tested at gigabit speed, so that's great, and you can learn more about that in some other YouTube video. Now I have a small gigabit switch that will plug into this outlet in the box, and it will actually fit in the box, and I'll be able to close the lid with the switch in it. My router will not fit in, and I don't want it in the box because it will block all the wireless signal, and I'm going to mount that on the wall. But technically I could put the router somewhere else in my house and plug it into a jack that's in the wall, and I could just connect a patch cable. Right, we finished punching them all down. We'll flip this around, do some cable management, and we're near the end on this box here. Velcro straps are my favorite for cable management. However, I have to use some zip ties on this one because there's some holes in the back of this box that I am going to use, and I can only get the zip ties through those small holes. I want to clean this area up as well. I need to get the lid on that, and in doing so I need to move power into that. I've got power in this box, and I'm going to run an extension cord over and through this wall and into here so that I can get the power there and get that lid put on right there. As a disclaimer, I'm telling you to get a licensed electrician to do any electrical work. However, for this one, I'm doing this myself. And I'm running an extension cord that I'm going to cut the end off and feed it through a hole between the two boxes. And then I got an end, the female end at Home Depot, and I'm going to put it on the end of this extension cord so I can have power in both boxes, and my antenna amplifier will be amplified and running in the right box, coming from the power in the left box. One of the last things you need to do is label all these ports so you know where they go in the house, which wall port they correspond to. But instead of doing that, I actually made a spreadsheet and put a list here. It's just a little bit more room to put the description of where they go and leaves room to write in any changes that happen. This is what it looks like now that the doors have been put on. I have the screws put in to prevent the doors from coming off. And on this one, I have some Ethernet cables coming out of the door, so I haven't pinched them by putting a screw in this side. However, if I put one down in this lower left side, the door is still secure and you can't get inside, which keeps kids and other people from getting in. But anyway, overall, it looks great and nice and clean. It's a finished job now. This is before. This is after. Yay, we're done.